Hey everyone, it's Mikey Millions here, and I welcome you back to the 3K Challenge. In the last episode, things started looking rough when the market was spiking, and my iron condors were taking the whip. But toward the end of the episode, the stock market had come back down, and my iron condors were looking strong. This puts me about 21% in the green this year. Obviously, I'm happy with the results so far, but in the stock market, a lot can change very quickly. So here we go again, episode 4 of season 3. Let's get started. Today is Monday, the 22nd of May at 3:43 p.m. So we're coming up on market close here, and the market has not really moved a whole lot throughout the day. I mean, we had SPY kind of try to make a move here toward that 420 mark, almost got there, and now it's back down just above flat. So iron condors, not really a whole lot of movement other than a couple of spikes and dips throughout the day. Started off with the market shooting higher, and that was putting my 428 short call in jeopardy. So any real significant move that SPY makes toward that 428 strike is going to start putting the position in jeopardy. It's going to start to hurt it, and that's what we saw early in the morning. But now as SPY is melting off, I'm in pretty good shape overall. All day, and in fact all last week, probably all this week too, we're going to keep hearing about this debt ceiling. Joe Biden and Kevin McCarthy are throwing down on the mat. I keep seeing the headlines, somebody slams somebody, stock market plunge will solve the debt crisis. A lot of very exaggerated remarks. We got this probably 10-year-old photo of guys looking like they're in Iraq or Afghanistan. NPR is probably talking about how the soldiers aren't going to get paid if we don't lift the ceiling. It's a lot of clickbait. It's a lot of people getting really excited over nothing. We've seen this so many times now, the debt ceiling. It's going to get lifted at about 11:59 at night. You're going to have a whole bunch of interns named Noah and Addison, Jalen, bunch of Gen Zs taking over all the internships. They're all going to be on their 11th coffee run, fueling up representatives who are older than the S&P 500. But eventually, this is going to get resolved, and I think you can see that in the market. The market is not predicting any kind of debt default, all right? It's just not going to happen. So given that I still have $10 between my short call and SPY's current price, I think I'm perfectly fine to just stick with what I got for now and not open or close any more positions. However, I'll change my mind about that if we see VIX spike up. VIX right now is down below 17, so this is not a good time to be opening up new iron condors or new short strangles. I've had success so far just being patient, wait for these spikes up to 20, and then sell condors. That's where I've had success. That's what I'm going to keep doing. I think a lot of you guys last week only watched the first half of the episode because a lot of you guys were like, oh, Mikey, I'm so sorry. You took a loss. I know that's tough, man. I've been there. Guys, I hit a new high last week. It's a new high for the account. So I don't know if you guys didn't watch the whole episode or something, but the iron condors are still working out. So I'll sit tight and check back in later in the week and see what the new headline is about the debt ceiling. Alright, it's Tuesday afternoon and the market just closed. I've been picking strawberries with my family all day. I mean, why go purchase strawberries at the store when you can drive 2 hours to go pick them yourself? But anyway, I didn't spend much time looking at the market today, but when I did check in, I was watching that SPY had been declining throughout most of the day, and that really helped out my iron condor position. And honestly, that's just what I needed. Now that SPY has dropped down to about 414, I also have another $4 of breathing room, and my account has hit a new high. Now, given that SPY was rising up to 418 yesterday, I was starting to put my iron condor in jeopardy with the short strike at 428. I never really considered closing yesterday, but now I definitely feel better about the position. Now, this decline in the market has also increased VIX. Now, if VIX gets over 20 tomorrow, then I'll likely open up a second iron condor. I have the buying power already. I'm just waiting for VIX to spike so that I can use it. Now, I'm going to go enjoy some of these strawberries, and we'll check back in tomorrow. All right, welcome back everybody. It is about 10 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, May 24th. A couple days ago, I made that choice to not close my iron condors when the market was spiking. And sure enough, the market has gone back down to that 411 mark on SPY. You can see it's down today about 0.69%. That's fantastic. And if I pull up the weekly, you'll see that we started spiking and I was getting a little bit nervous in here that we might be hitting that 428. Now with this big precipitous drop off, we're back in great shape. Look at the month and it's almost flat. Despite all the up and downs, we're almost flat for the month. And in fact, if I go to the past entire year, despite some ups and downs, we have pretty much been sideways. You can see that SPY is only up because of this 1 year ago uptick. We're almost exactly where we were 1 year ago. So the market's been sideways and iron condors have been going really well. So this iron condor that I've got open here, at one point I was looking pretty rough. I was down, I was actually losing money at this point. but now back up to about 30% gain. Now where's that put me for the year? So year to date, I'm up well over 20% now. We're at 21.25, so that's pretty good. Now if we look at VIX, it is over 20, so this is an opportunity to place a new iron condor. But with the market skewing so strongly down right now, the options prices are going to be all over the place. I need to give the market a little bit more time to get its bearings so that options prices can normalize, and then I'll re-enter my 16x9 iron condors. So let's check in about a half hour. So here we are a week later on May 31st, and I've realized that my dumbass forgot to hit the record button when I opened up the condor last week. So now in retrospect, we'll go back and look at the position that I opened, and you will see that it is my traditional 16x9 iron condor. My short strikes are 377 by 434, and expiration is in July 21st. Now I'm actually red on the position right now. Now if we look at the weekly chart on it, it really took a nasty hit at the end of last week when the market started spiking. But now that it's kind of coming back down to earth, we're back into that sideways motion, I'm actually doing okay. So I'm not worried about this position at all. And of course, I've still got that iron condor open that expires in June. It's up a little bit right now, 17%. Not fantastic, but it's doing all right. The condors themselves are doing okay, but where the real gain is on the account lately has been from shares, GUHd and GEPQ. Both of these have been looking really sharp. We look at GEPQ on the month, it's up 4.5%. GUHd doing even a little bit better, up 5% on the month. While the iron condors do their thing, the shares have really shined. And of course, these are both dividend ETFs, so I'm getting that steady trickle of dividend going into my cash value that I can apply later. So as the market keeps going sideways, my account is going to keep benefiting from the iron condors. I'm up over 22% now. Any more bearish activity this week is only going to help out the account. So I actually hope that this debt ceiling, I don't hope that the debt ceiling fails to pass. I just hope that it does take up until the last minute so that the market can get spooked and come down a little bit and I can close my iron condors before I reload. Look at the news, what's happening here. All right, McCarthy's future is on the line, blah, 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 blah. House is set to vote on it. And this one I found interesting. AOC is planning on voting against it. I don't know why. Now this makes sense. The Freedom Caucus is going to vote against the bill. I think this is like the Boberts and the MTGs, which honestly is not surprising at all. If anybody sinks this bill, it's going to be the people that have vowed to just oppose Joe Biden. But one way or another, this thing is going to get passed. I'm very confident in that. Nobody in Congress actually wants the United States to default on its debt. That would be absolutely disastrous. So Freedom Caucus, you have my support in running this up until the last minute. AOC, I don't really know what's on your mind. Maybe it has something to do with the Green New Deal, something like that. But as long as we eventually get this resolved, you guys can take your time. I have iron condors that I need to close. And now, since I know a lot of you guys are living like Oliver Twist, I want to show you how to make a quick $250 so you can invest. This is exactly what I did under my wife's name, and now she's got several accounts that are all compounding. All you need to do is churn a couple of promotions. Step number 1 is to go to freecash.com and make an account. This is a website that I use all the time to get promotional bonuses. If you use my referral to Freecash, you'll also get a bonus box with some extra money in it. Once your account is set up, you're going to see all these offers. All you need to do is go to the offers dropdown and hit deposit. Look here for the Webull offer. If you use Freecash as your referral to Webull, then Freecash will give you $42. You need to click Start Offer and then follow the instructions. Just deposit $5 and make your first trade. When that's done, Freecash will give you $42 that you can withdraw as cash to PayPal. Then from Webull itself, you're going to get between 6 and 12 fractional shares. Now realistically, this is going to be worth somewhere between 18 and about 36 bucks. If you're lucky, you can get more than that. When I did this under my wife's name, I got about $40. That gave me 82. I want you to liquidate all those shares and Google Schwab Starter Kit. It should be the first link. With the Schwab Starter Kit, if you deposit $50, you will get $101 of bonus. That's all you have to do. When you go to open the account, just scroll down and make sure you see Schwab Starter Kit as your referral code. This is not my referral, this is just a promotion. When that is done and you've got your money, take that money and go over to the Fidelity Starter Pack. It's pretty much the exact same thing as Schwab, same deal, deposit 50, get $100. Just from this chain of promotions, you've got about $250. None of these companies are sponsoring this video. I just wanted to show you guys how to get some free money to start your investing. If you do find this advice helpful, I would appreciate a like on the video. Now let's get back to the 3K challenge. As Chuck Schumer is explaining, the House and now the Senate have both passed the debt ceiling bill, and obviously Joe Biden is not going to veto the bill, he's going to sign it. So that's it. Everything that could possibly happen in the market that's bad is now solved. So that's it. There is nothing bearish on the horizon. And as a result, investors are so confident that this is the lowest that market volatility has been at least all year. If I look at the 1 year chart, this is the lowest it's been in over a year. Even in the middle of 2021, volatility was still higher than it is now. This is the lowest market volatility we've had in the post-2020 era. Even though VIX is so low, it's not happening for the reason that I want. Let's flip over to Robinhood and see the damage. It's about 3:30 p.m., so we're coming up to market close on Friday, June 2nd. In the last 2 days, SPY has gone up over $11. And now with SPY tapping on my short calls strike, I'm unfortunately going to have to make a sound that I never wanted to make. Should be one that's familiar to you. All right, here it goes. Yeah. With SPY now sitting at almost exactly 428, with SPY having a really good day, sitting at almost exactly 428, my iron condor is starting to look a little rough. Just today, it's increased over 60% in value, and that's putting me at a 64% loss. Now, if expiration were today, I'd still be okay. But we've got exactly 28 trading days left for this to go higher. And from here on, every further uptick is going to start causing trouble for this short call. The puts, meanwhile, have almost nothing left on them. There's only $6 left on these puts. And SPY 370 this month, I just don't think is going to happen. Now, conventional wisdom would tell me that my short call has been breached. It's time to roll up my short put. I would buy back the 370 short put and sell one that's higher so I can collect more premium. And likewise, I would roll up the 360 long put to something more appropriate. But I've gotten myself into trouble several times doing that. And if I actually go and set it up, I'll show you what this looks like. We would open up to our expiration date, so that's June 30th. All right, we're gonna go to puts. Now, if I were to buy back my 370, that would cost me 27 bucks. Of course, I'm gonna sell the 360. So it's gonna cost me $7 right now to close out the put swing. That's all I have left on the put side. But conventional wisdom would tell you, all right, now it's time to sell another put. So let's maybe look for the 16 delta. It's usually about 84% probability of profit. So we might be looking at 412. That's about the 16 delta. So conventional wisdom would tell me to sell this put at 412 and then buy the 9. Maybe that's 402. Yeah, about 402. So it would tell me collect the extra $68 credit and then continue to hold the position with the short put at 412. But I really don't want to do that. I've got 28 days until expiration, and I think it's still within play that we could come down closer to 412. I don't want to be stuck in a spot where I'm hoping that SPY goes back up. I'm okay with foregoing this extra $68, $67 of credit in exchange for having a lot of space to the downside if the market turns against me. So I'm going to make the controversial decision not to roll my position. I'm going to hold what I have, which is going very good so far, and root for SPY to come back down. With the type of huge increase that SPY has shown lately, I wouldn't be surprised if it's time for a little bit of a pullback. However, if we do pull back, I might get a little bit more cautious about taking gains here. Maybe I'll only seek 25% gain, just to make sure that I'm not flirting with danger too much. As for the other iron condor with the short call at 434, if the market keeps bursting up like this one's going to be in danger too. Right now, I've only got a little bit of breathing room, about 1.5% on SPY. I'm not planning on making any changes now, but I do have to keep this one in mind too. For the year now, this is a significant amount of damage. It's putting me at about 12% gain. That's right in line with the S&P. This all just goes to show you how quickly things can go bad when the market moves outside of its normal range. Just 2 days ago, I was up 23%. Debt ceiling passed, market shot up too high, next thing you know, I'm at 12 again. But the market is a fickle mistress, and things can change very quickly. I am holding on for dear life. Tune in next week to see if this works out or if it just really blows up in my face. I also invite you all to join our free Discord, link in the description.